Q7313. An application for a student pilot certificate must be submitted in person to any of the following: A. Flight Standards District Office, Flight Instructor, Designated Pilot Examiner. B. Aviation Medical Examiner, Designate Pilot Examiner, Flight Instructor. C. Aviation Medical Examiner, FAA Inspector, Designated Pilot Examiner. The correct answer is A. To apply for a student pilot certificate, the applicant must submit their application in person to any of the following options: a Flight Standards District Office, Flight Instructor, Designated Pilot Examiner. In order to ensure proper documentation and verification of the applicant's qualifications, the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, requires that the application for a student pilot certificate be submitted in person to one of these authorized entities. The options provided in Option A are as follows: Flight Standards District Office, FSDO. FSDOs are local FAA offices responsible for providing regulatory oversight and support to pilots, aircraft operators, and aviation professionals. They play a key role in processing pilot certification applications and maintaining aviation safety standards. Flight Instructor. A flight instructor is an individual who is qualified and authorized to provide flight training to aspiring pilots. They can assist with the submission of the student pilot certificate application and guide the applicant through the necessary steps. Designated Pilot Examiner. Designated Pilot Examiners, DPEs, are FAA-approved individuals who have been authorized to conduct pilot examinations and issue certificates. They have the authority to accept student pilot certificate applications and assess the applicant's qualifications. By requiring the application to be submitted in person, the FAA ensures that the necessary documentation is properly reviewed, identities are verified, and any additional information or clarification can be requested if needed. This helps maintain the integrity of the certification process and ensures that only qualified individuals receive student pilot certificates. Q6376. A recreational pilot may be issued for A. Airships, gliders, and balloons. B. Airplanes, gyroplanes. C. Airplanes, gliders, helicopters, and gyroplanes. The correct answer is B. A recreational pilot certificate is specifically issued for individuals to operate airplanes and gyroplanes. Airplanes are fixed-wing aircraft that are powered by engines and use wings to generate lift. They are the most common type of aircraft used for general aviation purposes. Recreational pilots with this certificate are trained and authorized to fly airplanes within the limitations and privileges specified for recreational pilots. Gyroplanes, also known as autogyros, are rotorcraft that have an unpowered rotor that provides lift, while a powered propeller generates thrust. These aircraft have unique flight characteristics and are included in the privileges granted to recreational pilots holding a recreational pilot certificate. Recreational pilots with a certificate for airplanes and gyroplanes are restricted from operating other types of aircraft such as helicopters, gliders, airships, or balloons. Each of these aircraft categories requires separate training, certification, and specific qualifications beyond the scope of a recreational pilot certificate. It's important for individuals aspiring to become recreational pilots to understand the specific aircraft categories they are eligible to operate with this certificate. They should adhere to the limitations and regulations set by aviation authorities to ensure safe and responsible flying within the authorized aircraft types. 6346-1. When is a recreational pilot required to carry a logbook with the required endorsement? A. When flying during the hours between sunrise to sunset. B. On all flights when serving as pilot in command. C. Any flight up to miles from the airport at which instruction was received. The correct answer is B. A recreational pilot is required to carry a logbook with the required endorsement on all flights when serving as the pilot in command. Option B correctly identifies the situation when a recreational pilot must have their logbook with the necessary endorsement. As the pilot in command, The recreational pilot is responsible for the overall operation and safety of the flight. Carrying a logbook with the required endorsement is crucial for demonstrating compliance with regulatory requirements and documenting flight experience. The logbook serves as a record of the pilot's flight hours, training, and endorsements received. It provides evidence of the pilot's qualifications and training history. The required endorsement in the logbook may vary depending on the specific flight operations, such as carrying passengers or operating in certain airspace. Regardless of the time of day or the distance from the airport, a recreational pilot must carry their logbook with the necessary endorsement on all flights when serving as the pilot in command. This requirement helps ensure proper documentation and regulatory compliance while assuming the responsibilities of pilot in command. 6377. A recreational pilot with less than 400 hours. Flight time may not act as pilot in command unless the pilot has A. Logged pilot in command time in the last 90 days. B. Logged pilot in command time in the last 180 days. C. Received flight instruction from an instructor who certifies the pilot is competent to conduct flights beyond 50 miles. The correct answer is B. A recreational pilot with less than 400 hours of flight time may not act as pilot in command unless the pilot has logged pilot in command time in the last 180 days. Option B correctly identifies the requirement for a recreational pilot to act as the pilot in command. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, imposes certain currency requirements for recreational pilots to ensure their continued proficiency and safety. In this case, the requirement is that the pilot must have logged pilot in command time within the last 180 days. Logging pilot in command time refers to the time when the pilot is operating an aircraft as the sole manipulator of the controls and is responsible for the safe conduct of the flight. By maintaining recent pilot in command experience, recreational pilots can stay familiar with the responsibilities, decision-making, and operational aspects of acting as the pilot in command. It's important for recreational pilots to track and maintain their flight records accurately in their logbooks, including the dates and duration of their pilot-in-command flights. By meeting the currency requirement of logging pilot-in-command time within the last 180 days, recreational pilots can demonstrate their ongoing competency and eligibility to act as pilot-in-command for flights. 6380. What night flight training is required for an unrestricted private pilot with an airplane rating? A. 3 hours to include 10 takeoffs and 10 landings and 1 cross-country flight of over 100 nautical miles. B. 3 hours to include 5 takeoffs and 5 landings, each landing from a traffic pattern. C. 1 hour to include 3 takeoffs and 3 landings. The correct answer is A. To fulfill the night flight training requirements for an unrestricted private pilot with an airplane rating, the following details are involved. The pilot must undergo a minimum of 3 hours of flight time specifically dedicated to night operations. This training focuses on developing the necessary skills and knowledge to safely conduct flights during nighttime conditions. During these 3 hours of night flight training, the pilot is expected to perform a total of 10 takeoffs and 10 landings. These takeoffs and landings can be conducted at the same airport or different airports, as long as they occur during nighttime hours. This requirement ensures that the pilot gains ample experience in the takeoff and landing procedures under low-light conditions. Additionally, as part of the night flight training, the pilot must complete 1 cross-country flight covering a distance of over 100 nautical miles. This flight is designed to expose the pilot to the challenges associated with navigating and flying over longer distances at night. It helps develop skills in flight planning, navigation, communication, and situational awareness in nighttime conditions. By including these specific requirements in the night flight training, aviation authorities aim to ensure that pilots possess the necessary proficiency and confidence to safely operate aircraft during the dark hours. This training helps pilots become familiar with the unique considerations of night flying, such as reduced visibility, reliance on instrument interpretation, effective scanning techniques, and the recognition and avoidance of potential hazards associated with nighttime operations.